Here's the NIT history for each of these programs. What that doesn't tell you is that Princeton back in 1975 won the whole thing. These two teams fighting for a spot eventually at Madison Square Garden if they can get there to the semifinals and championship round. This is game number one. We're underway. And the head of the snake for the VCU Rams, Ace Baldwin, is at the point on this VCU team that comes in looking for its 22nd win of the year. This is Baldwin off the bounce, around and out.
Yeah, VCU, one of the best defensive teams in the country, Doug. And Princeton has 4 phenomenal three-point shooters that surround number 20 in black, KeShawn Curry. They're one of the best offensive teams in the country.
Yeah, I find it fascinating how Coach Mitch Henderson has adjusted and worked the offense to cater to what his team and his players do best.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be bombs away all night. I'm going to have to check in with the style they play.
Here are the starting 5 for the Rams. Curry, Nunn, Williams, and Ward, along with Baldwin Jr., the super sophomore left-hander with the basketball right now.
Yeah, VCU really turns you over on defense, but that's what they struggle with. They turn it over on offense 22% of the time. And Coach Rhodes really thought if they could just clean up their turnovers, they may be in the NCAA tournament right now. That's been their biggest challenge.
No doubt about it. And can they turn over this Princeton Tigers team? Awoma and Llewellyn are the 2 leaders in terms of ball handling and scoring. The other co-captains include Wright and Freiberg, and Ryan Langborg, the other starter for the Tigers, who went 12-2 in regular season play in the Ivy. Freiberg off the back iron, no. And the ball goes out of bounds to VCU.
Yeah, they're going to give it to KeShawn Curry a lot. They get you into closeout situations, and then you attack them. And 2 of the best coaches in America here, Doug. I really think that. Mike Rhodes is a master on the defensive end. You got Mitch Henderson on the other side with a great offensive game, but we are in for a high-level basketball game.
Rhodes in his 5th year as head coach here at VCU out of Lebanon Valley College, where he was the Division III National Player of the Year. Still looking for our first points of the night, and they come on a triple from KeShawn Curry, the senior from Jacksonville.
Yeah, he's more of an athletic driver, but if you're going to give him one and dare him to take it, he can knock it down.
Yes, second half of the season, excuse me, Noah, he has really been delivering as a 3rd weapon for VCU.
As Coach described him as a little bit of a wild horse. Can really get out and run, but sometimes he gets a little ahead of himself.
KeShawn Curry with his first 2, the unanimous Ivy League Player of the Year this season.
He's got such a unique game, and your work is never done. Even after he comes to a complete stop, he might pivot and pump fake once or twice in the paint.
Williams off the mark. He's a 39% three-point shooter. Here is Llewellyn. Left alone in the lane, missed the shot. Long rebound comes to Curry. Give it right back to him. And there is that passing acumen that you're going to see all night from KeShawn Curry.
Yeah, and those 2 have ESP together. They really work together beautifully and have an excellent chemistry. And KeShawn Curry's head's always on a swivel looking for who's open.
Both first-team All-Ivy League players, both average 15.8 points per game. Set up beautifully on the screen and roll, but Hassan Ward wasn't ready to receive it.
We'll keep an eye on KeShawn Curry. Tracks down the loose ball, looks directly in the center of the court, gives it to Jalen Llewellyn for the finish. Another first-teamer in the Ivy League. So much talent on this Princeton team. Remember, they won the Ivy League championship, which is the regular season, getting the automatic bid here, and lost 52 hours ago in a thriller to Yale.
Yeah, you never know, especially in the first round, what you're going to get in the NIT. Are players and coaches happy to be here? Are they so irritated by the fact that they didn't get to the NCAA, losing in their conference tournament, that they just want their year to end? You just don't know until they get out there.
And I think for Princeton, after such an incredible pressure-filled Ivy League tournament where it was 2 years of pressure, remember they didn't play last year.
Yep.
There's a lightness to this game. They're happy to be here, and they're playing loose and free.
Llewellyn strokes the corner 3. Yeah, the impression I got from both shoot-arounds earlier today here in Richmond is that both of these teams do want to be here, and they have their competitive juices flowing.
And coming out of the COVID year, both teams coming from a place of gratitude, but probably Princeton a little bit more, who had to sit out an entire season.
After the KeShawn Curry 3 to open the scoring, Princeton's on a 7-0 run. And they throw it out of bounds. And again, as we were talking about before the break, you never really know how teams are going to respond to that disappointment. Can they regroup and regather and get themselves fired up in the NIT?
Yeah, remember that Richmond team had a bunch of guys come back who are in their 5th and 6th years of college. There's so much of that around the country, 23-year-olds, 24-year-olds. But I think VCU is just pumped to be here. Princeton's pumped to be here as well. And as we mentioned before, the 4th best defense in the country in VCU. The Princeton offense, high octane, the three-point attack. 4 guys who shoot it right about at 40% from deep. You can see they're 6th in D1 in percentage, 5th in terms of makes per game. They're going to get them up there no matter what. They're going to shoot 30, 35 threes tonight. And it doesn't matter. They might miss 5 in a row. The next 5 are going up.
Well, Princeton laid an egg in the championship game on Saturday of the Ivy League title game where their shots just didn't fall. And this VCU Havoc defense is not where you typically go to try and get your shot to start falling. Marcus Sahonis off the bench for VCU shoots up an air ball, give it back to Princeton. And so for Mitch Henderson's team, how do you get yourself recalibrated shooting the basketball like they have most of the season? End to end, there goes Iwoma.
Well, right there, you see exactly what VCU does to other teams, which is they bring the pressure. They're going to try to turn the guards. They're going to try to trap, but Princeton just gives it to their center and says, bring it up. You know, not everybody has a Scottie Pippen, Boris Diaw type of player who's a forward who can just break the press himself.
That snaps the 9-0 Princeton run. 9-5 Tigers.
And the other thing about VCU D is that they're excellent in pick and roll coverage. They're really long. They can slide and cover a lot of ground. But Princeton doesn't do a ton of pick and roll. They really space you out and make it really difficult to close out due to their spacing.
Shot clock at 7. Llewellyn being hounded by Ace Baldwin. Forces up the 3, catches iron, but here comes VCU. Sahonis, the Washington transfer, back to Williams. Down the lane, Curry. He's been the only offensive option so far for VCU, and he'll have a chance for 3.
Hey, where's number 11? Because he loves Kyrie Irving, and right there you saw a little Kyrie on the finish inside. A guy who has a number of highlight dunks on the season and can really fly. Great finish inside.
Yeah, he has made multiple appearances on the SportsCenter Top 10. He has all 7 VCU points so far tonight. And he is the only Ram to have appeared in every single game so far this year. He says the basketball is wet, so he wants it dried off. And the official Lionel Butler obliges.
I don't know you can do that.
Why not?
I would have said every time I missed a free throw that we had a wet ball. Come on, man.
No. You never missed a free throw?
Nah, well, that was okay. But I like that. You know, get yourself set, dry the ball off.
Of course.
Playing at home.
Curry has all 8 VCU points, back to a 1-point ball game. Nearly 6 minutes in. Here's Ethan Wright, one of the tri-captains for Princeton. Step in 3 Lamboard, no.
And that's how quick his release is. He'll shoot it. He's got the ultimate green light.
Well, I thought Williams had an open lane to the bucket for a layup. Instead, he lays it off to Jalen Deloach, who puts VCU on top.
Yeah, Deloach's sister Taylor ran track at Ohio State. Brother Kalen played football at Florida State. What an athletic family.
Now Princeton's hit a cold spell at the offensive end. They've made just 1 3-point bucket through the first 6.5 minutes, which is not what we've seen from the Tigers this year.
No, not at all. And see, the previous possession before Ethan Wright's drive, Princeton's used to teams overhelping. So they drive and they're able to just throw chest passes to the perimeter. But VCU's playing up in gaps and they're not really helping. So the guy driving cannot commit that he's just driving to kick. He's got to drive it to score. VCU, on the other hand, really relies on the 2-point shot. It's really only Vince Williams who's hit a lot of threes this year with 59. Ace Baldwin, their second best shooter, only hit 29. Princeton has 4 guys who've hit 50-plus three-point shots.
Woma with the one-hand flush.
Hey, roll out the red carpet. I mean, nobody home. That's the player of the year in the conference. You let him get going with the dunk.
Curry cut off. Nice job by Freiberg. Williams tried to go backdoor. Curry, only 27% on his three-point shots so far this year. Awoma, he's the pivot of the offense, trying to create for himself. He draws the foul on Deloach. What are you telling them to do?
Well, if you're picking all chalk early, you're not going to get it done, okay? You got to pick your upsets early. Start with the Elite Eight and work backwards, okay? Now, one thing I looked at was Gonzaga potentially can play UConn pretty early.
Okay.
And that could be an upset special, number one. You've got a first 4 matchup where the 12 can end up being Indiana, which is not a true 5-12, but that's one I noticed early. And then I just love Auburn. They are giant. They are talented. They've got guard play. They've got Walker Kessler on the inside. They got a number 1 draft pick, Jabari Smith.
Do they have enough guard play, though, to make it all the way to New Orleans?
I think they do. They can be a little wild and a little undisciplined, but sometimes when you get in a wild March Madness situation, you just need guys with guts. And Katie Johnson is that guy for them.
Ace Baldwin has his first 2 points. VCU back within 1. Atypically, Princeton at this end has been getting it done by getting into the paint. 10 of their 13 points in the lane. They've made just 1 3-point shot so far. Teeing up from 3 is Matt Alako. Williams got a piece of that rebound. It comes out of bounds off of Princeton. Rams ball.
Ace Baldwin's so talented. Uses 2 picks. Nobody steps up, and he's got all those floaters, flippers, runners from basically 15 feet and in. And you see his performance against Richmond. He can really pass, and he'll get this crowd going with some no looks either hand. He uses his eyes to fake like a quarterback. He'll look guys off.
Nick Kern Jr. into the game for VCU, along with Levi Stockard, who's got it, the Kansas State transfer, on the block. Draws a crowd, has it knocked away. 10 to shoot. And back outside, the freshman, Jaden Nunn. On the all-freshman team in the A-10, and you get a sense of why. First 2 points for the rookie out of Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, really good hang time at the end. Ethan Wright walled up and went vertical, but it was just a better finish by Nunn.
Awoma goes right around Stockard, gets him off the floor and gets the foul. He'll have a chance for a 3-point play. 8 early points for Tosan Awoma.
That's what he does. He'll just dribble and kind of like an old Charles Barkley, dare you to double team. You don't double, he's going to post you up and finish with physicality. Started playing the game at age 14. He was a big-time soccer player. He was actually at the soccer academy. Kind of fell out of love with the sport. Played in the garden with his father, Isaac. They created a team for him in his town. And he contacted Princeton, and it was assistant coach Brett McConnell who went over there and saw him in person and was very impressed with him.
Baldwin knocks down the long 2. Now, when you say he played in the Garden, you don't mean Madison Square Garden. You mean in the backyard.
Oh, correct. I went English on you for a second. I went with my Great Britain, tea time in the Garden. That's what we meant.
Well, Tosan's dad, who you mentioned, Isaac, he's a physician. And his mom, Michelle, was a groundbreaking pilot in Nigeria. Sadly, Tosan's mom died nearly 10 years ago of cancer. And he wears the number 20 in her memory. That was her birthday.
Yeah, he's a great student, a great young man, a leader for Coach Henderson and the Princeton Tigers.
Working on the offensive glass, Mikael Brown-Jones.
Yeah, he's another guy out of the Philly area, had interest from Villanova, Temple. Right here, look at the verticality inside. I thought it was great defense. Maybe it came down a little bit at the end, and Ethan Wright wanted the foul, but Levi Stocker, he went straight up and a little hand at the end. But look at the wingspan on this VCU squad. Not only is it tough on contesting on help, but they can basically hold hands across the court. It's like your boys up at Syracuse.
Back in the day.
I played them in the Dome my second college game ever. I was like, nobody's open. These guys are, they're covering the entire court with their wingspan. Like Michael Carter Williams, or, that was a year after Mello, so I dodged the bullet. But
yeah, that was not the case this year, though.
Oh.
There's a triple for Princeton. Freiberg ties the game at 18.
But VCU with that wingspan, they make it so tough just throwing the ball around the perimeter. They tip so many passes.
Curry off the hesitation. Little physical in the lane to create some space. He's off to a terrific start already at his season average with 10 points.
Yeah, he's really great when he just touches the paint and gets to that A10 logo. Excellent two-footed push finish.
Freiberg on the pull-up. Good answer at the other end for the Tigers.
As the VCU's taking away the three-point shooting a little bit, Princeton with a good adjustment to get into the paint.
This end, VCU heating up, has made 5 of 6. Now make it 6 out of 7 as Vince Williams Jr. gets into the scoring column.
A guy who battled so many injuries early in his career and has earned this fantastic senior year he's had by putting in long hours in the gym.
He's had both rotator cuffs surgically repaired, had a concussion, an ankle injury, broken hand, but the last couple of years he's been healthy and so much better. A possible NBA draft pick if he chose to leave this year. On the rebound, Hassan Ward came down a little awkwardly. Grimace jogs back up floor, while his teammate goes to work. Jaden Nunn, 24-20 VCU. Awoma waits for the defender and then lays it in.
See that little hesitation? He didn't show the ball, but the way he jump stopped and then just a little flinch with his shoulders, and he'll get you off balance. It's hard to simulate in practice. And I don't know if VCU has played anybody like him all year.
No. Well, his teammate, who we spoke to today at shoot-around, Ethan Wright, described Awoma as a unicorn, and it seems to apply.
Yeah, maybe his true position is small forward, and he's basically playing center, but you see him bring it up.
Llewellyn keeps the dribble. Freiberg, dump it off. Awoma. 7 to shoot. Alako lost it. It comes to Awoma, and he draws another foul. This one against Vince Williams. Timeout here at the Siegel Center in Richmond.
And all I'm seeing is enthusiasm, love for the game. Guys happy to be here, pumped. They want to get to the Garden. I want them to get to the Garden so I can take the 2 train, 2 stops, check these teams out.
I thought you were speaking British again. I thought you were saying you wanted them to get to the backyard.
Yeah, no, I got it. The Madison Square Garden. And
gotcha.
Again, both coaches talked to their teams and said, hey, this is the NIT. There's a rich history, which was absorbed to, mixed results by both teams. You got to give it to them on TikTok or Snapchat so they understand. But obviously, the coaches gave the history of this tournament to their team.
NCAA March Madness. Women's Championship action, Sweet 16 and Elite 8, March 25th through the 28th. Final 4 Friday, April 1st, 7 and 9:30 Eastern on ESPN. And then the championship game Sunday, April 3rd, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN, as Awoma now has 12 points to lead all scorers.
Someone else got to get involved if Princeton wants to get back in it a little bit more.
The finish by Ward, the junior from Barbados, makes it a 29-24 game.
A great pass by Vince Williams Jr.
7 different Rams have scored already tonight. Ethan Wright Little teardrop. Owoma, tall for the rebound. But then he had it taken away. Fight for the ball. VCU with a little bit of havoc. And there's what you were talking about, Noah.
Exactly.
You take away, and then you give away. Freiberg off the mark.
Yeah, they want to play with freedom, and they can use multiple ball handlers on the break, but...
Ooh! The Baldwin pass took Ward right to the rim, but he just couldn't quite put it over.
Yeah, Hassan Ward, another guy with NBA potential with his 7'3" wingspan, the bounce. That was going to be highlight level stuff. He got hung on the rim.
Terrific pass and finish, that time by Langborg.
You got to have a sense of where you are down there. Ryan Langborg didn't come down with it to give them a chance to block it. Another one of their double-figure scorers.
All 5 Princeton starters have scored at this point. Curry. Kick to the corner. Jaden Nunn couldn't get the 3. Llewellyn draws a crowd, gives it back to Owoma. Ward stood tall, got a piece. Owoma back out front. Llewellyn poked away from behind by Baldwin. Llewellyn wraparound pass. Will they count the basket?
I don't know.
No basket.
I don't know. He had it. He got bumped definitely on the floor. But how about Tosan Owoma? I mean, this guy can really pass the basketball. Little touch back door up top to Ryan Langborg. Now, he led the Ivy League in assists by a mile. He had 128 assists in the regular season. The next closest guy, Geronimo Rubio de la Rosa, point guard from Columbia, had 82.
And in terms of assists per game, though, he's not even tops in this game. Ace Baldwin for VCU averages 5.6 assists per game.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Yuri Collins, I think we'd hear a lot more about Ace Baldwin's passing. But he is a sensational playmaker and passer for VCU.
On the sideline, Madalacco turns it over. And Baldwin missing the first 8 games of the season because of an Achilles injury, had to have surgery last spring. He doesn't statistically qualify for some of those leadership categories. He averages nearly 3 steals per game, but he doesn't show up in the A10 stats leaders.
Yeah, I'd like to see him shoot a little bit more from the outside. He can really shoot it, but he doesn't take a ton of attempts. I think that's the next step for him, is to be more aggressive with his jump shot.
None the long two. He's got a half a dozen. Yeah, Baldwin was a big recruit for Mike Rhodes and his staff. He had opportunities to go to Clemson, Maryland, Seton Hall, Georgetown, but he was close with Bones Highland. They had a relationship and knew that you can come here to Richmond, play at VCU, and win a lot of basketball games. Into the ball game, Elijah Barnes with the bucket.
Yeah, Elijah Barnes spent his year off during COVID as Vince Williams Jr. knocks it down, working the overnight shift in an Amazon factory. Oh man, VCU is rolling. We'll get back to that story. VCU on top here at home.
Has a lot of varied interests off the court. He took his gap year and did a lot of work to get himself ready to come back and really setting himself up for life.
Yeah, he worked an overnight shift in an Amazon warehouse, and from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning, he organized a book drive in addition to that with 500,000 children's books that he got the community to come together and donate. I mean, he did the most with that year off, and for the rest of his life, they're going to go, what did you do? The school was shut down, no season. Well, he's got a great answer. He's a leader. Coach Henderson said he's a guiding force for their team. What a young man.
Right, no. Well, in addition to what you said, Noah, Elijah Barnes has spent a summer in Shanghai teaching children. He taught English as a second language to immigrants in Philadelphia. Helped residents in Trenton, New Jersey register to vote. A socially conscious individual. And he's one of a handful of Princeton seniors who have put their name in recent days into the transfer portal, which is a whole different subject, especially for these Ivy Leaguers who didn't have the opportunity to compete last year because of the pandemic.
Right, and you know, everybody gets an extra year, but who wouldn't want any four of those guys? They're ready. They're ready-made products. They're great players. Paul Atkinson, you see what he's doing from Yale down in Notre Dame. You see what Ryan Schwieger's doing for Loyola Chicago, along with Chris Knight from Dartmouth.
Awoma, no. Gets it back. Under 2 minutes remaining in the half.
And then you finally see VCU able to bother him. JJ Deloach inside. Great contest on KeShawn Curry.
Oh. How about that? Jalen Llewellyn got caught in the air, didn't know what to do, so he just flipped it to the rim. And what do you know?
Oh, you're getting a letter on that, Doug. You're not even going to try that one in a game of horse. You're taking the letter.
Well, Llewellyn along with Wright and Freiberg, the three tri-captains, they're the other guys along with Elijah Barnes who are exploring their options in the transfer portal. Baldwin plus the foul.
Well, first, look at this shot by Jalen Llewellyn. You nailed it. He was looking out, and they're playing gaps. He's throwing up the old Pistol Pete 1-footer from 12 feet. Nifty by Jalen Llewellyn, and then the answer by Ace Baldwin, who still has a lot of improving to do, and because of injuries, hasn't had a full offseason here at VCU. According to Coach Rhodes, he's looking for him to take a huge step up in this offseason.
Sophomore out of St. Francis Academy in Baltimore now with 7 points. The lead is 7 for VCU. Well, we became familiar with Havoc more than a decade ago when Shaka Smart was here. And that defensive intensity has not waned, regardless of who the head coach has been. Will Wade before, and now Mike Rhodes. Good ball movement. Better defense for VCU. After the block shot, it went out of bounds. And these folks here in Richmond certainly do appreciate the defensive effort.
Yeah, and it's Havoc, but it's not disorganized. Okay, it is organized, it is disciplined, it's just really long and really fast. And those are the main things, along with the high level of communication. When you think of Havoc, it's helter-skelter. No, they are incredibly disciplined on the defensive end.
VCU third in the country in three-point defense percentage. Top 30 nationally in turnover percentage 9 of the last 10 years. Lob to the rim. Curry gets it back and lays it in.
Yeah, sometimes Princeton is reading the lob correctly, but VCU is just 3 or 4 inches over them. Able to tip that ball and keep it in play.
The Siegel Center has come to life. A tremendous answer by Ethan Wright.
How about that finish? I mean, that's NBA Jam. That's Bulls Lakers 96 and Sega Genesis. That was a video game-like finish. But it's been KeShawn Curry.
KeShawn Curry Jr. from Newcastle, England, with 12 points to lead the visiting Tigers. And Vince Williams has 8 points for VCU. These are the 2 impact players who we highlighted off the top, Noah, and NBA scouts are at most of their games. The latest intel I've heard on these guys is that Awoma could eventually be a first-round pick and that Williams might be a second-round pick as it stands today. What have you been hearing?
Well, I've got a contact now with the Orlando Magic, and they love guys like Vince Williams at 6'6", can switch a lot, can play multiple positions. The fact that he can pass. But the X factor that is always the differentiator with the switchable guys is, can they shoot it well enough? Now, I think he can at 38% from downtown, 47% from the field. And then with KeShawn Curry, he's obviously got to add that outside shot, but that's the new NBA. You want guys who can guard 3 and 4 positions and who can fill roles if they're not going to be a star.
Awoma is only 2 of 17 on the year on 3-point shots.
Yeah, and he can shoot it probably a little bit better than he's shown, but he's got 4 great shooters around him. Here's a great steal by VCU.
Williams the takeaway. And Curry able to cash in at the other end. 14 points for KeShawn Curry. And as mentioned, second half of the season and the first half tonight, he has been an offensive catalyst.
And a couple of times he's just gotten the beneficiary of running hard and filling the lane.
Langford, triple.
So VCU, for one of the few times this game, didn't identify a shooter, and you see that lightning quick release by Ryan Langford.
He's one of the 4 perimeter players for Princeton, shooting at or around 40% on the year. Curry.
You see Princeton sticking with that scatter report. They view KeShawn Curry as a driver primarily. They're going to give him that 3, even though he made one in the first half.
Tough shot and the roll. Oh. Ethan Wright, give him 8, back to a 2-point ball game.
Velcro rim right there. He stayed up there for an eternity.
All right, is he 6'4", 6'1", or somewhere in between, Ethan Wright?
Well, he's probably 6'4", 6'5", but he's delusional because he thinks he's about 7 feet tall with his rebounding prowess.
Ace Baldwin, he's got a dozen. Back to a 5-point lead. VCU's led by as many as 9. That came right before the break.
Great help by Hassan Ward.
Baldwin finds an opening. Can't get the roll.
Got numbers if they want it.
Freiberg turns the corner. Knocked out of bounds. One official says off of Princeton. However, Tim Comer comes over. He and Matt Potter have a discussion to see whose ball it should be. And predictably, the folks here in Richmond don't like the call.
So KeShawn Curry, look at it how Drew Freiberg got into his body, and that's a foul. To me, he hit him on the arm, so they didn't call the foul. So then it should be off of Drew Freiberg, but first it should have been a foul as he came across the arm. You're seeing how physical you got to be against that VCU defense, especially late in drives.
So you're saying ball don't lie?
Exactly. Ooh!
That's a long 2. Ethan Wright, he's into double figures. Had a nice chat with Ethan after shoot around today. He is a legacy at Princeton. His mom, Ellen DeVoe Wright, class of '86. Chance for 3 for Jaden Nunn.
Yeah, the freshman from Flint, Michigan. Jaden Nunn, a ton of strength inside to and 1. Here's a guy who's an accomplished bowler. I mean, how do you have time to become this good at basketball and then basically be able to roll a 300? I mean, are you kidding me? This guy's super talented.
Mookie Betts for the Dodgers. Well, the first thing Coach Rhodes said about Jaden Nunn is that he's an everyday guy. Yes, he's talented. Yes, he was a big recruit for us. Yes, he was on the A-10 All-Rookie team. But at his core, at his heart, he's a regular guy. Awoma lays it in as the defender DeLoach hits the deck. 14 points now for the 6', 8" hybrid from Newcastle, England. Ball lost, it comes to Nunn.
They're just not calling that block either way right now.
But we only had a handful of fouls called in the first half. Ace Baldwin going to work.
And a lot of times that's an and 1. It's just really physical, and I give both teams credit for playing through the physicality. And that could have easily been an and 1 and a great physical finish by Ace Baldwin.
Great balance for VCU. Now we've got a foul call, and Baldwin and the fans don't like it, predictably. First foul on number 1 in white.
And Ace Baldwin missed the first game, 8 games of the season with injury. That gave Jaden Nunn a lot of playing time and got him a lot of experience, but they're a completely different basketball team with Ace Baldwin back.
Step back 3 by Wright, off the front rim. Yeah, without Ace Baldwin, they opened the year against St. Peter's, an NCAA team. Wagner lost in its conference tournament final this past weekend as Curry lays it in. Then they went to Vanderbilt and held an SEC team on the road to 37 points in a win. They played a really good Chattanooga team and then went to the Bahamas, played Syracuse, Baylor, and UConn, beat the Orange, lost 2 tough games the other 2 nights, and again, those were all without Ace Baldwin.
Right, remember,
timeout called by Princeton.
8 wins straight before that St. Louis game as well. But, man, and two great teams, of course, played on the 1975 team that won this NIT, along with co-captain Mickey Stoyer. Now, they didn't think they were going to keep winning. So this is a story Mickey Stoyer told me. They kept making plane flights down to Florida for spring break. They kept winning, and they kept having to cancel the flights. What a great story. And then eventually they just had to drive down to Florida after they won the NIT. And Armand Hill went on to play 8 years in the NBA.
Yeah, 47 years ago, Princeton won the NIT.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
of course.
They haven't. Princeton women's program has been on a roll for about a decade plus, but another superb season. Carla Berube has not lost a game in conference since she arrived on campus as a head coach. Former UConn star, of course. They had the player of the year as well. And Caitlin Chen had a huge weekend up there in Levites.
Easy steal by Llewellyn. A huge mistake coming out of the timeout by the Rams.
Man, they put it on a platter for him. I mean, that's like layup lines.
Just over 5 minutes into the second half. VCU led by 7 at the intermission. Hassan Ward feeds Vince Williams Jr., who draws a crowd but scores over top anyhow.
Yeah, silky delivery with the right hand for the lefty.
Foul called on the strong drive by Awoma.
What a block by Hassan Ward. I mean, that's a clean block up top. They got the push before. But this Llewellyn steal. I mean, that's a gift when you throw a bounce pass from the sideline out of bounds. You got to throw a chest pass. That led them. That's about the easiest bucket they're going to get. And this is the one area he's got to improve, the free throw shooting for KeShawn Curry.
Only 58% from the line. Well, in spite of that, his teammates said they really realized in the spring of 2021 when they were working out on campus, 13 of them were able to be there. That's when they realized, boy, KeShawn is really special. They knew he had gifts the year before, but they saw this coming.
And how about Ace Baldwin's pretty special too for VCU, but remember, Princeton missed an entire year of basketball. Some guys.
Curry with the hammer.
He can fly. KeShawn Curry. Spectacular finish.
And the lead is back to 8.
Well, look at that recovery by VCU on defense. So that's a 3 usually for Princeton, but that was just great recovery by VCU.
Alaco, the triple.
Call him Mush. He never stops talking. He told me he's the best shooter on the team at shoot-around today.
They all say that.
They're all pretty confident, but he can really shoot it as well.
Ethan Wright asked Drew Freiberg who's the best shooter. Drew said him. Ethan said, well, I'm the best shooter. They all think. Well, you got to think that way, right? What a finish by Ward.
Yeah, Coach Mike Rhodes told me only about 2% of the people in the country playing college basketball can make the vertical plays he makes. And you saw it right there on the lob.
On second effort, the layup is good by Awoma.
But that first time he went up on Hassan Ward was not vertical. And that one should be a foul.
Left alone, Hassan Ward throws it down.
I mean, the arms, they extend up to heaven. So long, 7'3" wingspan and great hands inside.
Going to stay at this end with 12:22 remaining in regulation. Ryan Langboard returns. Matt Alaco takes a seat. And a nice round of applause as Hassan Ward heads to the VCU bench.
He moved up from Barbados to Springfield, Mass. in 9th grade and has really blossomed as the players come to the game relatively late.
Yeah, it's interesting. Oftentimes when these players come from overseas to the United States, it's because of basketball, but he did not come to the States because of hoops. He picked up basketball once he got to Springfield, and he says that's where his new life started. Ryan Langford now with 8 points.
Princeton hanging in. Every time it seems like VCU's making a run, knock down a shot. VCU's passing has been excellent the last 3 possessions.
Baldwin, tough post entry, knocked away. Tigers with it. And then the takeaway by VCU. Numbers for the Rams. Curry attacks. What a night for the senior out of Andrew Jackson High School in Jacksonville.
Hey, jumped through a trap. They tried to trap him. He just leapt through it.
It's his third 20-point game of the season. His career high is 28 against Rhode Island. Woma gets it back from Freiberg. Looks for cutters. Off the fake, draws the contact, and he will head back to the free throw line when we come back.
That brand. It's not just VCU. You know what you're in for. It's going to be 40 minutes of incredibly difficult offensive basketball for you when you're the visiting team.
This is the 6th time to the NIT for VCU. First time since 2008. As Woma misses a free throw again, and in Mike Rhodes' first 4 years, he took the Rams to a pair of NCAA tournaments in 2019, and then again last year in 2020, they would not have made the tournament, at least certainly not as an at-large. Woma quiets the crowd for the moment by getting the second free throw. He's got 17 points.
VCU is 9 for their last 9 field goals, and their passing has been excellent as well as their finishing inside.
Yeah,
Princeton needs to stop.
11 of 14, now 12 of 15 in the second half shooting. 10 straight shots made, and as you pointed out, most of those have been at the rim.
There just hasn't been a ton of help, and when there is help, it's been a little bit too little, too late for Princeton.
Right, backs his way in, left it short, gets it back, and is denied. Jalen DeLoach, the long arm of the law. And then contact at the other end as Vince Williams tried to get into the lane. Personal foul on Drew Freiberg, senior from State College, PA.
And right there, when you get the rebound, you're Ethan Wright, you got to have your head on a swivel because of the shot blocking ability inside. J.J. DeLoach. What a block.
Well, we showed you the length across the roster for this VCU team in the first half. Just got a taste of it again. Tough shot by Nick Kern, one of the gym rats on this VCU roster. Winding down to the midpoint of the second half, VCU has been playing from in front most of the game. Princeton had a 9-0 run early. That back cut stolen away by Kern.
A design backdoor aimed at Ethan Wright, and a great read by Nick Kern, who, as you highlighted, lives in the gym. He was here before shoot-around by a full hour, shooting by himself with one of the assistants. Really wants to get better.
Baldwin, no. Tosan Woma with another rebound. Ball lost out of bounds by Llewellyn. Unforced turnover, but nonetheless it is turnover number 8, forced by VCU.
Yeah, Princeton at times has gotten a little methodical in their half court, so I like the idea by Jalen Llewellyn to try to get some freedom of movement on the break.
Baldwin. Another good look for the Rams. This one missed. And right into defense for Baldwin, trying to hound Llewellyn all the way up the floor.
And another great pass by Vince Williams Jr. I mean, I think his feel and his passing are excellent.
Woma. His teammates call him slow-mo, and you get a taste of that. 6 to shoot. Llewellyn puts it on the deck, right to the rim.
Great pass by Ryan Langford to keep the ball moving. And a rare breakdown by VCU. They're so good at recovering 2 and 3 times in a possession.
Baldwin uses the screen from Ward. Williams swings it. Attacking from the baseline and drawing the foul for VCU is Jaden Nunn, the freshman out of Carmen Ainsworth High School in Flint. The NCAA Women's Tournament First Four continues Thursday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN2 and the ESPN app, with Mount St. Mary's taking on Longwood, and then it's Florida State squaring off against Missouri State. None off the front rim. He's a 78% foul shooter, averages 8 per game. And as mentioned, he's a member of the All-Rookie team in the Atlantic 10 Conference. He attended Dream City Christian School in Arizona last year after leaving his hometown of Flint. He originally committed to Iowa State. Other power conference offers as well, but after the coaching change at Iowa State, he wound up at VCU. And you know what? I had an opportunity to tour the facilities for VCU this afternoon. Terry Zay, one of the assistant coaches on the women's staff, took me there. It's across the street from the Siegel Center, and I'm telling you, Noah, it is as good or better than many, many, many power conference programs. What they have here to offer at VCU is really something else.
Yeah, and you're going to get better, or at least have the opportunity to get better if you come to VCU. It's not only the high-level coaching, but you have that available to you. And these guys come in the gym in the morning, they go to team practice at 1:30, and oftentimes they come back at night, and you see it paying off here. They're playing great on the offensive end.
Well, they have top-flight medical staff, of course. They've got their own personal chef. There's food available around the clock. Baldwin, what a pass. And the finish. A reverse lay-in by Nick Kern makes it a 10-point ball game, the largest lead of the night for the Rams.
And how about the hang time by Nick Kern, though?
Big answer by Langford, and then the immediate timeout called by Mitch Henderson to try and take some of the life out of the building here at the Siegel Center.
And then how about the other teams in the A-10 playing here in the NIT? Dayton, phenomenal. St. Bonaventure, who plays 5 seniors. Shuno, Shuniyi, they're big guys, incredibly exciting. And then St. Louis with Gibson, Jimerson, the gunner from downtown, and Yuri Collins, a playmaker extraordinaire, led the country in assists this year for St. Louis.
Well, Bonaventure won the NIT back in 1977 with Jim Barron leading the way on the floor. But the Bonnies, who are as disappointed as anybody in the country not getting into the field of 68 based on the fact that they were nationally ranked early in the year and had such huge expectations. Could they salvage some of their season by going on a run here in the NIT? Well, a tough assignment tonight in Boulder, where the Buffaloes a couple of weeks ago took down the number 2 team in the country in Arizona. Quite a test for one of the better A-10 teams coming up later tonight.
And all season long, it was really 5 or 6 teams in the A-10 who had a chance to win that championship, and Richmond came out with the victory, but so strong, especially at the top of the league this year.
And ultimately denied Dayton from its spot in the field of 68. So Dayton is the number 1 overall seed in the NIT. And I was down in Orlando at the ESPN Events Invitational when Dayton came up with one of the signature victories of the year, knocking off Kansas on the Mustafa Amsil buzzer beater. What an electric night. And, they've got Deron Holmes, who is going to play in the NBA, terrific freshman for the Flyers. And I love their point guard, Malachi Smith.
Yeah, New York guy. And Deron Holmes, another guy, like a lot of players in the A-10 that we've highlighted tonight, that turned down brand name blue chip offers to go to Dayton and play for Anthony Grant, who does such a great job there. The level of coaching in this league is spectacular. And Mike Rhodes, of course, was at Rice, came back. He was on the staff when they went to the Final Four here, so he's got a long history here, but just great coaching all around the A-10.
Jaden Nunn, one of 4 double-figure scorers with his career-high 13 points. Well, with the way Princeton can shoot the three, they are still very much in this ball game. But at some point, they've got to get it going. Freiberg lost his footing and turned it over.
They're just so tough to attack that length, and he was already thinking about his finish when he tripped.
And now Baldwin pulls it back out. Dump off pass. Layup missed by Ward. Bears a three ball off the hands of Langborg.
Yeah, Ryan Langborg, probably as much as anybody on the team for Princeton, has the ultimate green light when he's open. The right play is to shoot the basketball.
Well, he was a prolific scorer at La Jolla Country Day High School in San Diego, California on the year this season, averaging 10.5 per game. He's one of 4 double-figure scores tonight for the Tigers. Baldwin draws contact, no whistle. Ward fights for the basketball, and he's tied up. The possession arrow stays at this end.
Princeton lucky that Hassan Ward cannot get that up to his shoulders, because that was going to be a jam inside. Now a huddle. The officials talking about where they're going to go to dinner.
Matt Potter, Tim Comer, Lionel Butler. While they confer and go to the video monitor, let's again refresh for you as we get the NIT underway around the country tonight. On this side of the bracket, you see the winner of this one will get either Wake Forest or Towson, who will play tomorrow in Winston-Salem, a game you can see at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN+. There were 3 other 7 o'clock games on the ESPN networks being played tonight. A good one in Nashville. Vanderbilt with a 2-point lead over Belmont, 65-63 late. And now Oklahoma has pulled away from Missouri State late. It's 81-64. And we've got all these teams fighting for a possible spot at Madison Square Garden. Once again, the semis and the championship will be played at MSG.
Yeah, and they're looking to see if it hit the rim for resetting the shot clock. It did hit the rim. They will reset it. But Oklahoma has the Graves brothers who transferred in from Eastern Washington. They're an exciting team. Belmont, Nick Mazinski, one of the best big guys in the country.
No doubt.
And another program that every year is in this conversation this time of year. But I'll tell you one other thing I love about the NIT, Doug, is that you get actual road games and you get home games.
No doubt.
Which is very cool this time of year, not just neutral site.
Lionel Butler has come over to tell Noah exactly what their determination was. With 5 minutes remaining in regulation, what was the verdict?
So it did graze the rim. They're going to reset the shot clock to 17 and the game clock to 5. But I think that's a big differentiator with the NIT. I mean, we got the band here for VCU. We got the true home environment for VCU. It's awesome. It feels like college basketball.
Well, quite a departure, obviously, from a year ago where the entire NIT was in a bubble in Texas. Now we're back on campus and so happy to have the fans here in the stands in Richmond, Virginia. It's one of the great home court environments in the entire country at any level. Long pass comes to the backcourt to Nunn.
And that pass was floating. I thought Ryan Langborg would go take a stab at that.
Get the ball into the hands of Baldwin with 10 on the shot clock. He pulls the trigger and hits. Terrific execution for VCU. That is a new career high for the sophomore from Baltimore. He's got 19.
He's got a knack to hit big shots late.
Count the basket. Ward the goaltend. Give 2 points to Langborg. Ace Baldwin has had the ball in his hands from the time he got on campus. A starter from day one last season.
He was a big-time recruit, and I'd like to see him do more of that. He can really shoot the basketball, 41% from 3 on the year, only shot 70. I'd like to see him shoot 120 next year. I mean, he can really stroke it, and that'll set up the rest of his game, and his passing is so great that that'll just be another weapon for him.
Again, he is the head of the snake at both ends for the Rams. He sets up his teammate. They eventually get a couple of great looks. Finally, Curry cashes in, having himself a night. Now 22 points as VCU looks to separate from Princeton.
Yeah, just relentless on the glass. Doesn't get the first one. Second, third, fourth effort for KeShawn Curry. And there's our slam cam from above. Now that will electrify you and energize your teammates when you hit those. When you miss 3 or 4 of those and miss, man, that drains their energy. So VCU is juiced after knocking that in.
Now VCU, as we've talked about, is kind of team turnover this year. Here's another potential takeaway. And a timeout is called by Princeton's Ryan Langford. Or is there a foul? There is a foul call.
Yeah, so this is a point of emphasis. Loose balls, it used to just be a rugby scrum, and now you can't leap on top of people. It was a good call. It was a good play initially by Ace Baldwin. He leapt on top of Ryan Langford. Correct call.
I was starting to say that VCU on offense has only turned it over 5 times tonight. That was one of your keys, that if they take care of the ball, they're really tough to beat.
Yeah, they average a turnover rate of 22%. Meaning they turn it over 22% of the time, usually, so they've done a great job to protect the basketball.
Llewellyn lost it, tracks it down. Uwoma dribbles back to the left hand, now spins over the left shoulder, and the foul is called against Deloach.
So they're a team that, man, they missed it by a hair, but they have a great chance to get to Madison Square Garden and then to win this whole thing.
Yeah, the Weathers twins are clearly fraternal, not identical, but it's cool how their college careers started together, and now are ending together as they've gotten back together at SMU.
Well, identical twins have to play the same position, so it's good that one can play 4, one can play 2 guard, but they are an incredibly exciting team.
I don't think they have to play the same possession if they're at a position. You can be in a 4 and a 5, the Lopez twins.
Yeah, you could.
You know?
Basically 2 centers, though. You know? Oh, man.
And that is Uwoma's second air ball from the free throw line here tonight. A fact that the folks inside the Siegel Center will not let him forget.
Princeton little 1-3-1 here, trying to switch it up. Trying to slow down VCU. Got to attack it with the diagonal pass.
Baldwin to the floor. A nutmeg pass through the legs of Uwoma to keep possession. Inside they go. Deloach, no. Princeton basketball, 3:10 left in regulation.
And so it worked out well for Princeton. Good move by Coach Henderson.
Llewellyn's had a quiet second half. Here's Uwoma, looks for cutters, now goes to work. He gets it back. Tough shot, no. There's some of that athletic ability you were talking about from Ethan Wright.
Yeah, these guys had absolutely monster rebounding games, had 18 boards against South Carolina. But VCU didn't do a good job attacking this 1-3-1 last time. They've got to throw that skip pass into the corner and then attack the closeout. They got bogged down.
Timeout VCU. With Noah Savage, I'm Doug Sherman. Tosan Uwoma, NBA prospect for the Princeton Tigers, hanging around but still down 7. And let's see how VCU now attacks that 1-3-1 with a limited shot clock.
Well, they put Vince Williams up at the top, first of all.
And on the penetration, they get a wide open 3.
Yeah, they just worked the ball lower down towards the 3-point line. And Vince Williams Jr., the star, was ready to step in and knock that down.
Curry skies for the rebound. Here come the Rams. Ward. That makes VCU having its largest lead of the night, 82-70.
Yeah, what a Euro by Hassan Ward. The agility from the big man.
Nice lefty finish, Uwoma. Timeout. Princeton. We talked about the recruiting efforts of Mike Rhodes over the last 5 years. He's got another good one coming in next year. A top 100 recruit, Alfonso Billups, in the ESPN 100. He's a lengthy, athletic, versatile wing player. he's going to fit right in with this roster.
Yeah, I mean, you have to recruit a certain type of player to play here. If you're not able to move laterally, if you don't have the ability to get in passing lanes and defend, you're not going to last very long with Mike Rhodes and VCU. And now the word has gotten out that you can come here, you can play in the league, you can do whatever you want to do after, and the facility, the program, and the coaching is top-notch here.
There's the balanced scoring. Baldwin with the career high. VCU basketball with 1:31 to go. Awoma for Princeton has a double-double, plus 7 assists. No Princeton Tiger has ever had a triple-double. Pressure broken. Williams now turns around, brings it out. And VCU happy to work some clock. Foul given. That'll send Jaden Nunn to the line for a 1-and-1.
Yeah, Princeton trying to get a turnover with their pressure and then electing to foul, extend this game. Not a ton of guys you can really foul on VCU. Hassan Ward only shoots 61%. Everyone else is pretty much in the mid to high 70s. None a good free throw shooter at about 78%.
Well, the winner of this game will get the winner of tomorrow night's Wake Forest Towson game in the second round. Coming up after this one on ESPNU, Cleveland State Xavier, Santa Clara, Washington State, all here on ESPNU. Big opportunity missed at the free throw line, missing the front end of the 1-and-1.
Yeah, leaving the door a little bit open here for Princeton. Princeton's got to play fast, but got time to run some real offense. Don't panic, just take the first good shot.
Ball back into the hands of Langford. Awoma's pass deflected. VCU basketball. There's that length of Vince Williams again. Back to a 12-point VCU lead. Awoma will have a chance for 3. The foul on Ward.
So you're seeing what VCU does well, turning Princeton over, getting out of transition. And then you're seeing why Tosan Awoma was unanimous Ivy League Player of the Year. That push through dribble at 6'9", the float, and then the finish with the left hand for the right-handed player. Just really pretty.
Those 22 points, 5 shy of his career high, which he did against Drexel in December and at Cornell last month. Around and out. Princeton comes away with the basketball after it looked like VCU had secured the defensive rebound.
Yeah, and that call came from across the court and was late and kind of hard to hear. That, I think even VCU thought that was a turnover and a steal.
I don't know.
Not a ton of contact there, but they've done a good job overall tonight. And KeShawn Curry, who's having a career evening, going back to the line.
Out of Fork Union Military Academy after Jackson High School in Jacksonville. As you see, he's more than doubled his season average. And another missed front end of a 1-and-1 for the Rams. 3 ball, no. Long rebound. Baldwin allows it to go out of bounds. Back to VCU. Well, the Tigers have won a lot of games this year, 23 to this point. Most have been behind their three-point shooting ability, but we saw it get away from them in the Ivy League final over the weekend, and they've not shot it very well here again tonight.
Yeah, there's no bad teams left in college basketball, and you're going to play somebody excellent every night. And VCU is an excellent team.
Off the turnover, Ethan Wright lays it in. Baldwin fouled. And he will go to the line to shoot a 1-and-1. Baldwin's a 73% foul shooter. Well, Baldwin's good friend, we talked about him earlier, Bones Highland, one of the all-time greats out of VCU, had a marvelous night in Philadelphia last night with the Denver Nuggets, where he had 500 to 600 of his friends and relatives make the short drive from Wilmington, Delaware to Philly to see him play. And not only did they get to see him play, Bones went for 21 and was the star of the show in knocking off the 76ers, knocking down one big shot after another in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, and what that does to your program is it's motivating, right? Every player who sees him have success at the NBA level for VCU, that makes him just want to get in the gym more and more in the offseason.
Ethan Wright for three. Pass gets away from Curry. Out of bounds back to Princeton with 30.7 on the clock. Tigers still with a heartbeat. 86-79. He's 86 points.
And they called the foul on KeShawn Curry, who just fell over into Drew Freiberg. So he's going to the free throw line to shoot it. And it's the right call. He fell down on his legs. And again, it's that same call where you can't just jump on guys. And it's an unlucky play, but it's still a foul. But VCU just needs to inbound the basketball and go hit free throws, and they'll get out of here with a win.
Freiberg 74%. In and out.
Right here, now it's going to be a turnover anyway, and then KeShawn Curry just falls down on Drew Freiberg. You have to call that. But he was going to be out of bounds when he came down with the basketball anyway. Why throw these risky passes? Just throw an accurate pass, jump stop, get fouled, get out of here with a victory.
Should it have just been an out of bounds? I mean, was he out of bounds touching the ball before any contact was made? Not that it mattered. Princeton missed the free throw anyhow.
I don't think so. I think he was in the air when he touched it, but he did land on his legs.
Vince Williams Jr. made the front end. He's got his third career double-double here tonight. Shot clock off. Princeton needing a miracle, down by 9. Ward got a piece of that shot, and there is that VCU defense in conjunction with their highest point total of the year.
You throw the intelligence, the attention to scouting report, the amount of depth they have, and then the length is probably the last thing, where you pull up for three and the guy blocks your three-point shot. Just a great defensive team, and a team that has a great chance to go to Madison Square Garden.
And now Mitch Henderson with 19 seconds on the clock, going deeper into his bench to allow some of his reserves to get out there. Charlie Bagan, one of the real leaders of this team, a senior from Glen Ridge, New Jersey, who doesn't get a lot of playing time. Able to get out there and close out his career with an opportunity to score. Blake Peters also comes in. Matt Alacco is back on the floor. Max Johns, a senior from High Point, North Carolina, on the floor as Baldwin hits the first. Well, for these Princeton Tigers, you've been there when you know it's your last game and the seconds are winding down. What are they feeling?
It's just a bizarre feeling that you can't believe, especially this group. They really love each other, and same with VCU. It's two teams when we were in shoot around. They care about each other. They love each other. Two teams with really embody what college basketball is all about.
Bagan took the three. It goes out of bounds. Tigers will keep it. Princeton's season will come to an end at 23-6. Meanwhile, VCU will await the winner of another first-round game from tomorrow and play in the second round over the weekend. Johns missed the layup, and that'll do it. VCU 90, Princeton 79. Great balance offensively for the Rams, a new career high for Ace Baldwin. Vince Williams, an NBA prospect, does his thing. KeShawn Curry was great right from the start. And then the freshman guard, Jaden Nunn, their fourth double-figure score here this evening.
Yeah, and they really stuck to the game plan. They made it difficult for Princeton on the offensive end to get going from the three-point line. And KeShawn Curry from the jump was aggressive when they dared him to shoot that three. That got him going, and then he got his driving game going, the high-flying finishes. But I really like this VCU team. They are a bunch of great athletes and have great chemistry and great feel. They really found each other on the offensive end.
Well, they won 9 of 11, and they move on to round number 2, thanks in large part to the play of KeShawn Curry.